Maybe you've had that situation happen before where you have gone and you've gotten maybe a psychic reading or an intuitive reading, and they share this information with you, and you're like, now what do I do with that information? Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode. I am so excited you are here. Let's talk about past lives. So many people love past lives, and I do too. Like, past lives are my jam. I'm really good at doing past life regressions. I love exploring past lives. The one thing I don't like doing, and I think that this is so crucial and so important to talk about, is glamorizing past lives. Before we jump into the episode, I want to encourage you to sign up for our Soul Evolution Masterclass series. It's already begun, but you can catch the replays. We are doing a ton of healings and a ton of past life and soul lineage stuff. So definitely check it out. You can go to amyheals.com, amyheals.com. You can catch the replays. If you're watching this way after the series ended, you can also sign up for our wait list for the next time I do this series. All right, so let's jump into the episode. If you listened to the last episode, I was at an expo recently, and I did a ancestral healing. If you have not checked out episode 149, definitely check it out, because you can do that ancestral healing if you'd like to experience some ancestral blood lineage healing. It'll be really awesome. So at the end of this healing that I did, this workshop, I asked people if they had questions, and there was a gentleman that raised his hand, and he asked a question about what he can do about a past life someone told him about. And this is why we don't glamorize past lives. When you find out about a past life, it's crucial to, one, reclaim that fragment of your soul, because if you experience something in a past life and it's coming forward, two things is wanting to happen. One is to reclaim that fragment of your soul, and or is for you to claim a gift from that past life. We don't look at past life to glamorize them, because why is that information important anyways? And that's what the true question is. It's not about you knowing if you were a king or queen or a pharaoh or whatever it is in a previous lifetime. And this particular gentleman was in like a I don't want to say executioner, but he was told that he chopped off people's hands in a previous lifetime, and he has a ton of issues with his own hands. And this sometimes really gets under my skin when someone shares something about a previous lifetime, but they have no solution in healing it. And that's where the glamorization of past lives can really get people in trouble, because this particular reader, again, I wasn't in the situation. I don't know everything about the reading itself. And clearly it was important for him to know, but there always needs to be a solution. That's my theory on this, is like, when we have a past life come up, then we have a solution to heal it. And that's where, like, I love using the Akashic Records and working with the guardians of the Akashic Records to heal the past life so we can reclaim that fragment of the soul. Otherwise, the client or the person that's receiving a reading, and it depends on what type of reading they're receiving, they're left in confusion. Like, what do I do with this information? And maybe you've had that situation happen before where you have gone and you've gotten maybe a psychic reading or an intuitive reading, and they share this information with you, and you're like, now what do I do with that information? And this is where I think it's so crucial that if you're going to explore something, that we go to the next step of exploring it. So, how I teach the Akashic Records is for you to understand that you can work in the records for the past, the present, and the future. And if we're going to the past, we're going to the past for a very specific reason, and that is to heal. That is not to glamorize a previous lifetime, because someone told this gentleman that he used to chop off people's hands. And guess what? If he didn't do that in his previous life, they would have done the same thing to him. And that is how things work back then. Or depending on what civilization or what planet someone lived on, there were things that happened that were awful. We were not all saints and angels. None of us were. We all have done incredibly weird, difficult, awful things at some point in our soul's journey. And we've made mistakes. And when we make mistakes, we fragment. And when we fragment, we have to remember to recollect that fragment of our soul. Otherwise, that fragment continues to replay that event. I'll give you an example. Have you ever had a conversation with someone? And it could just be a simple conversation like, hey, I'm going to go to a soccer game to watch my kids play. But you keep thinking about that conversation over and over and over again. And maybe it was a simple conversation. Maybe it was a challenging conversation. Maybe it was a movie or a TV show where you can't stop thinking about the thing that you watched or you heard. And the reason why you can't stop thinking about it is because a fragment of your soul fractaled and still is living in that space and time. So think about that for a second, because I know I have had that experience where I'm sitting here trying to problem solve a fictional movie that cannot be solved. Like, it's not going to be solved. And it's because part of our empathy, our empathic self, is still trying to figure out how to fix it. And when we realize it's not fixable, or that a fragment of our soul has fractile, we can collect that fragment. I teach this in my Sacred Awakening program. I teach people how to open the Akashic Records. But today, what I want to really just emphasize is if you've ever been told you've had a past life and you're still thinking about that past life and you've actually never done a healing on that past life, definitely do a healing on it. You either learn how to do it for yourself or you have someone do it for you, because you should not suffer knowing that information. And that's the part where I think people can get in trouble with not understanding what that information does to someone. After the workshop, I ended up running into him and I told him that he could go and he can do an Akashic Record soul retrieval healing so that he could put that past life to rest. Because if your previous self, because time is just a construct of our human existence, time is happening simultaneously. Even though that was in a previous life, his human body now is still processing the guilt, the shame, and everything else that went with having to do those difficult things, with chopping people's hands off. And it was probably like a crazy time where that's where that type of punishment was more than acceptable, where he's still living out that guilt and shame, because our emotional body doesn't know that it is currently in this year and in this lifetime. And we can be living out a ton of different scenarios from many different timelines. And some of them are positive, some of them are negative, and some of them are gut-wrenching. And so when we reclaim that fragment of the soul through doing Akashic Record readings or doing other types of healing modalities, that's just my preferred way of doing it, we are able to then move forward and not worry about carrying the baggage from that previous lifetime. And it doesn't have to be as dramatic as what I'm talking about right here. It could be as simple as you being told that you have to be perfect and you have to look presentable, and that is running the way that you show up in your adult life. Maybe your parents were perfectionists and everything had to be orderly and everything had to be in a particular way, and you're also driving yourself crazy having to need and want everything to be perfect. And so it doesn't have to be a major trauma that someone experiences for past life. And a past life is any lifetime from, and it could be from this lifetime that's from a minute from before. So if we go to the beginning of this episode and you were thinking about something before you started watching this or listening to this, and you had something happen, that's a previous life. And so it doesn't matter if it's from this timeline or any other timeline. Your words, deeds, thoughts, and actions are constantly influencing the way you navigate this world and the way that you perceive this world. The other thing about past lives is sometimes people are so scared to observe or to look at a previous life because they're scared of what they might find out. And what is revealed is necessary for you to find out. So let me say that again slightly differently. When something is revealed to you, it's because you are ready to heal it. And that's so crucial and so important to know, because it makes you stronger and it assists you in recognizing that you have the strength, the confidence, the willpower, and the courage to do difficult things, to look at difficult things, to explore difficult things. And once you go through it, what ends up happening is you unshackle yourself from the past. If you stayed shackled to the past influences your present and influences your future, and you just continue to create from an old operating system. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be creating from a 1980s computer. For me, I want the latest updated technology so I can navigate my life smoothly because of that. And I'm sure you are the same as well. So if you are wanting to explore your past lives, you can either do it by your own personal means. That could be through meditation, that could be through exploring your Akashic Records if you know how to do that, or it could be hiring someone to help you explore past lives. And I have tons of Sacred Awakening students that can help you with this as well if that's something that you're interested in. I have people reach out to me all the time for that. So all right, my friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Remember, don't glamorize past lives. Get curious about them and explore them so that you can heal yourself from whatever it is that's coming up to be healed, or to embody the gift that wants to be embodied, because you deserve it. All right, please make sure you like and subscribe and share this with a friend. Bye.